I've just seen a report on Al-Jazeera saying that the euro is basically worthless or something like that. That is complete nonsense. Alright? Firstly, I am for the dollar. I am for an American dollar, but I'm not for a petrodollar. The petrodollar has been a link between the American Federal Reserve System and the Saudi and Bin Laden crime families. It's not a direct link. I'm not saying any of these wild conspiracy theories or anything like that, but there is a link between the amount of money supply produced by the Federal Reserve and the use of that money through the Islamic banking system into the pockets of those particular crime families. That's something that's been proven, and it's something in the mainstream media. Now, Al Jazeera, why would Al Jazeera, who hate America, by the way, would want to slag off the euro? Surely the European Union has been supporting the Palestinians by giving them food and money. And yes, and this is how we return the favour by the Arab media. So now we don't not only get slagged off by the Israeli media, only the right of the Israeli media, but also we get slagged off by the Arab, the voice of the Arab street, Al Jazeera. Why is this? Well, obviously the people who run Al Jazeera are quite close with such oil families in the Gulf, and they don't want to lose their license there. They have to be, because media is controlled in the Arab world and there is very little free speech. Now, they're obviously looking out for their own interests by having to go to the euro, because if the euro became the world's reserve currency, America would have to find clean energy, because the link between the dollar and oil would be broken. And then where would they look for that clean energy from? Oh, Europe. Why? Because Europe is a world leader in clean technology. The Scandinavians and Germans have been using it for many years, decades. Since the 1970s they've had wind turbines and solar panels on their houses. Right? The euro is being looked at as the whipping boy of these old, decrepit financial elites who are being passed over by the rise of new technology. We're again being told that Europe is laden with debt and that there's starvation in Greece or something like that. There is protests in Greece. The trade unions are kicking off there. Okay, but the trade unions have been known to be corrupt in the past in Greece and Italy and Spain, and they have often been used by people who are quite capitalist to enforce their will on others and against other companies. You only need to look at the stories of the history of the mafia to know that they've infiltrated the trade union system there. So you've got to look at that aspect of it as well. Now, the problem is that all this talk about debt is not getting to the critical issue of whether the debt is supported by taxation or unsupported. And the unsupported debt of America is 155%. Why is nobody talking about this? Why is nobody talking about it in the media? Why? Because they know that America will come down on like a ton of bricks. And it's about time the European press started to do the same thing to people like Al Jazeera and the American press, who are coming over and saying that the euro is worth no money at all. Now, I don't want Britain to be part of the euro, but we would still make a shed load of money if the euro was the world reserve currency, because we are right on the, even if you don't accept that we're in Europe, we're an island 30 miles off the coast of mainland Europe. Alright, so we would make massive amounts of money, because the Channel and the Thames estuary area is the hub of trade for most of the Western world. The English Channel is the busiest area of sea in the world. Now, this is a whole scale of different things that people in the media have been saying about anti-British and anti-European statements. For instance, the press that the BP has got over the oil spill in Mexico. Now, yes, they should fix that and it's an environmental disaster which BP should have been paid for. But there's other companies get away with it much worse. Have got away with much worse. Think of the Valdez, the Exxon Valdez disaster. Did they get fined by the American government for £250 billion? No, they did not. They got fined hundreds of millions of dollars, and that was when the dollar was worth slightly more. So yes, in today's money it would be worth more. And now they're saying on Al-Jazeera that there is even talk about Germany leaving the euro. They're trying to take the example of Greece, a small country which is basically a city-state. They basically got Athens and Thessalonica, and then trying to match them up to the scale of Germany and Britain. I know Britain's not in the euro, but the point is the difference in scale. Scale and time in economics means things, right? Has meaning. Okay, now on the issue of us paying for America's debt, which I explained in my video, why is Europe paying for America's debt? We might also ask the question of if Europe is paying for America's debt, is America so weak that it needs Europe to prop it up? Well, militarily, no, it does not. But you have to ask why the Americans are spending so much money on defence, even when they're just fighting the Taliban, which obviously makes sense for them to pay for their defence. But they're neglecting their economy, on which the basis of their defence lies. You can't have a strong economy without a strong defence. You can't have a strong defence without a strong economy. So is Europe basically paying so that America can continue fighting against Islamic fundamentalism? Well, maybe that also worries Al-Jazeera slightly, and the people who own Al-Jazeera, because of course they will have a nice cosy relationship where the Arabs buy useless arms from the Americans and the Americans get cheap oil. But this was upset by 9/11 when the Bin Laden crime family did that operation and destroyed those towers. That is my view, and that is the facts of it. Now, the other problem is, for these people who say that the euro is worth nothing, is that the European Union produces 18.4 trillion euros a year. Now the euro is worth more than the dollar, everybody. The dollar is worth less than the euro, so the United States produces $14.3 trillion a year. That is less. So when America has got a debt of 155%, it produces less than the Eurozone, and it has less productive capacity, because the euro is the biggest exporter. The European Union is the biggest exporter of machine tools, and those are tools that make other machines, and also the biggest exporter and importer in the world. I have to ask, are you insane to suggest that the euro is going to go out? Are you insane to suggest that Germany might leave the euro? England and Germany run the euro. Why would Germany leave? It was English and German universities that thought up the euro. It's not going to go away. The Americans have had to restructure their dollar for almost every 30 years since it was first invented, when they first had a completely fiat dollar, and then they changed the gold standard, and then they managed to even mess that up, and then they went to this fiat rubbish currency that they've got, the Petro-Dollar, where they linked a fiat currency with petrol. Alright, the euro is backed by a basket of goods which includes gold and energy and food, and so they run on the CPI, Consumer Price Index, and that is how to really run a currency. And also all spending and taxation is audited via the European Commission, and it's voted on. Is that not democratic? Can you actually vote on the decisions of the civil service in Britain or America? No, you cannot. Only in Europe you can do this. Well, that's my rant for today. Peace. I'm going to make some more videos. See you later.